I am joined by my intrepid co-host, Martina Grubmueller, live from London. Welcome to the show, Martina.
Hi, Andrew. Good to be here. Just lost
Yes.
hours.
Oh,
Yep.
it will reappear to you as you magically type into the maximize screen.
Well, you said I couldn't use caps, so I can't use maximize screens either, you know? You see how this works? You
Yes.
have people
So
using caps?
so anybody that's on Facebook right now, if you go to my private page or my public page, I put up a post there about people typing in all capital letters. And I wanted people to go, am I yelling? If I type in all capital letters, am I yelling at you?
No.
A lot of people perceive it as
No.
yelling. We've got over 50 comments on the two different posts that are basically saying, yes, come join the Lord, Sean. So, so what we're asking is that you head over to Facebook and add a comment there. Yes, studio, I'm not yelling. That actually stemmed from a message Robert, my producer, sent me this morning where he accidentally used caps, followed up by "You're not. I wasn't yelling at you," which inspired me to go and make a Facebook post as all caps yelling. And the answer is it is. Now, a lot of other people have said there's a lot of boomers who don't wear glasses, so they only type in all caps. And then there are these people who put all these things about sex abuse, trafficking, and the whole things in capital letters. And I can tell you right now, 99% of the people, when they see a whole post in all capital letters, they go next, and they don't read it. So for all you out there, all caps people out there, you are actually lessening the amount of people who will see in all caps because you are shouting in text. So we ask that you add your comment to the Facebook page about the all caps process. Now, Martina, we had an incredible show last week, didn't we?
Yeah, really good fun.
So who did the homework? Who went for the A+ effort? All caps don't matter. Yes. So who took the homework from somebody else who completed it and said they did it? Because if you took a copy of it, that's still only C+ effort. Actually, no. That's B- effort. You actually did a step by taking something in. But did you read it? How many of you typed it and then actually read it? Your dog ate your homework, Dave? What did you get out of typing it and reading it? So we're asking people to go into the chat room now. So Sean, a whole lot more. Yay. We are getting people to go higher on their effort. So Martina, today we're going to be talking about paradigm shifting concepts.
Exactly.
So recently I posted a video about Austinsteinberg coming out as the original AIQ programmer. What did you think of that?
Well, I've never heard of him. I've obviously heard of Q before, so it was really interesting to look at him. And for me personally, just looking at the energy, he came across very authentic in what he was saying. Simplistic approach in a way, and certainly something that we have touched in our discussions before already, talking to you obviously about the galactic history and time travel and all that type of stuff. So I think it's a good thing to go a bit deeper into that and see what we can explore on that.
So I just ask everybody to take the charge and polarity out of Q. What we are here to explore is quantum computing time travel technology. Now, I made a statement about Q being quantum computing time travel technology back in 2018, 2019, and there's several references, especially in the Galactic History AI series with Andre Hodge, where I say this exact same process. Now, some other person, I had no idea who Austinsteinberg was before this. I saw a video, and like Martina, I had my resonating ears going on, going, now he's talking my language. Whether he's true or not doesn't matter. If Q is a quantum computing technology from the future, and it's coming back here to the past to alter the past just enough so it doesn't alter the future, We're talking about the essence of core time travel, positive and negative manipulation. Now, one of the most important things that he actually said in the interview was that the Q movement had reached a point where it couldn't connect to the rest of the people. Its purpose was to reach to the left and to the right, but the Q movement had been hijacked by its own Karens and Kens. He didn't actually say that. I am modifying what he said, that it was hijacked by the hardcore repetition people who put that Q situation into being a savior. Q was never meant to be that. He was meant to be an information proliferator, so on and so forth. So if you listen to the essence of what he says, the mission got hijacked by its own zealotous people. And his purpose for coming out was that if they're ever going to make a change and Q's ever going to make a difference, it has to reach out to the left, and the zealots within the movement have to be self-policed. But it wasn't happening. Thus why he came out and said he is one of the original Q programmers. He's not the only Q programmer. Now, as I said, take the charge out of Q. Take it out. We're looking at this from a time travel, quantum computing technology perspective. Over many years, Martina, I've talked about these prediction-based programs that are spiritual programs, energetic programs, physical programs. You're buying and selling history. They understand you before you even make choices. And 10 years ago, the prediction models for each individual person could reach out 10 to 20 years. Nowadays, they could only reach out 3 to 4 months. Okay. And in some situations, only a few weeks. This limits the capacity to play chess on many alternate timelines and put your consciousness on a semi-real or fake timeline until they decide to collapse it, and then move the chessboards around so people are never aware of what's really going on in the awakening timeline.
Yeah.
So let's talk about these prediction models and how that works with quantum computing technology.
Yeah. Well, there's one more thing I want to say. What I do like about this guy is as well. He says, "Look, I'm just giving you information, and you can choose." So it's exactly on the same lines that what we always talking. This is information, and you can choose whatever resonates for you. Okay. That stuff, which made it interesting for me to listen. And also, I know very little about Q itself, so I came in with totally no point of view. So getting interested in that, because we always talk about time disappearing, and we're now basically working on galactic time, right?
Well, there's many functionings of time. The most important thing to understand is they're playing with the surface linear timeline on Earth. And each surface linear timeline has a correlating astral timeline and subsurface timeline. The subsurface or hollow earth timeline is a single multidimensional linear expression that allows many forms of time travel to exist. So you can jump from hollow to astral time and not actually lose time itself. Lost time is an expression that can have negative side effects on evolving beings. Like when you change time zones, like you travel from London to New York, you're going against the spin of the Earth. That also, those things affect. So when you go from a manipulated surface time to a galactic time, you also change dimensions. And when you're changing time and dimensions, there can be aspects of the personality or consciousness that are lost in the translation. Thus why they've developed specific technologies and prediction technologies to determine if moving thing off of one timeline to another or onto a bigger scale timeline is going to have the positive or negative effects that they want.
So I'm actually asking the question here just before we go into the technology itself. Because our DNA skin suits are obviously created and cultivated outside of existing time. So where do, like an Austinsteinberg, where does he come in? Does he only use when you say, or when he said he was coming from the future? How does he actually do that? I mean, just simplify that.
So just like when I have people who have gone through abuse, and we tell them to look at an aspect of themselves in the past and try to heal it. A future version of him has come to his mental state and said, I'm a future version of you. What proof do you need that I'm a future version of you? We do this in healing all the time.
Okay.
As a psychic expression, time travel is that easy.
Yeah.
We can do it right now. Now, in a future version of him who's using a quantum computing machine that's hooked into the global quantum internet, meaning his future self consciously time travels to him, and then he can get direct manifested proof through his computer.
Through his computer. So
even though his computer today is normal technology, it can prove itself over and over and over and over again that he's the future, which then influenced him to come forward and begin to alter time, because the prediction models that were going on with the Q thing weren't going the way that they wanted. Right, Alan, future proves past. I'm not dissing Q, nor am I promoting Austinsteinberg to be any better. We're talking about quantum computing technology. That ultimately is the main message of this conversation here, because it is directly affecting all of us right now.
Yeah.
Andrew, excuse me just for a sec. Is it Steinberg with the U, or Steinbart?
Steinbart, B-A-R-T.
Okay, thank you.
Bart,
I'll put that in the
Steinbart.
notes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Zif, isn't that cheating? Yes, but in a 100% free will planet, what's cheating? Okay, 100% free will, what's cheating?
Well, is it cheating, or is it actually using, the potential that we all have?
It's using the potential that we all have. They're already using this against us and have been using against this for us for centuries upon centuries.
Yeah, yeah. Because we have been, I remember what we obviously did is throughout the mentorship, what we started doing is doing future treatments on ourselves, sending treatments into the future. So that was that was the other way around. So that's why I was quite interested in looking when he says, I am from the future. So there's not two particular bodies. It's just, as you said, it's coming through the computer, and that he identifies with that. And you don't even need specific. I thought we needed specific quantum computers for that.
No, when the future reaches into the past, the technology is in phase or flux with time. That's why it can perceive, because the modern quantum internet is connected to everybody through the Starlink satellites. So there's some other things that he dropped in there that, when you understand the background of quantum technology, that what they're saying is the global internet allows for a truly basic, well, the most basic of minor collectives of people being connected, which allows computing-based technology to phase backwards and forwards in time. Like, we are all of our past, present, and future beings simultaneously existing. We know this as a teacher-based truth. Well, the quantum computer can take it to the next level and go back to the point where that quantum technology doesn't even exist, and make a bridge into a person along with the other person's communication, and then bridge directly into technology.
Okay. And it's obviously also what he was saying is that that whole quantum technology and quantum network is how they actually tap into our thoughts and our feelings and our brains, basically, the other way.
So Zif is asking, can quantum tech read Akashic Records? Yes. Yes, it can. It's a matter of how it processes it.
Well, as soon as it can read the DNA, it can read the Akashic Records.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Again, DNA is encoded in light and memories that determine what? Where you are in a time, space, location, the type of awareness you have, and is your awareness equal to your responsibility to that awareness?
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
So the quantum computing technology, we all commonly hear the term looking glass. Looking glass is one of those overarching projects that's been around for a very long time, that includes many different forms of time sight, time vision, time manipulation, and time reproduction of multiple timelines. Looking Glass is a master program that has all these sub-programs. Quantum computing is something that's evolved 35 years from now, and then that 35 years from now can go backwards and look at all the other time viewing technologies and assist people in the past to sift through which are truly the negative ones that don't have benefit to humanity.
So who is in control of that technology now? He's talking a lot about obviously the CIA and the FBI.
Space. He's saying Space Force, which
Force.
then takes aspects of different militaries, brings them all together in one organization, and then they begin a long-term process of deconstructing the CIA and the military-industrial complex. And then aspects of the deconstructed CIA and military-industrial complex become under Space Force, and then they remove the complete facade because it's absolute corrupt from top to bottom, the military-industrial complex.
Well, good luck to him, because it's an interesting project, isn't it?
Well, they already did it 35 years from now. They've already succeeded at deconstructing the military-industrial complex and the global spy grid that's being used against humanity.
Absolutely, because we've already stopped the galactic ascension machine, isn't it? So it's now just getting.
It hasn't stopped it. It's more like it's on update. It's like a Windows update. You had to reboot the machine and update it. And once again, people, we're not here to talk about the Q community, if Austinsteinberg is spending it or not. We're talking about time travel technology, stuff that I've been saying for a long time. And there are already many people in the Q community that have said Trump has got direct access to Looking Glass technology. Okay, so we're here to explore time travel, quantum technology. Austinsteinberg was just a great segue to bring this up as conversation, because this is all going to lead towards the election. All of this. Okay, there's going to be several other people similar to Austinsteinberg that I believe will come out and be talking about quantum computing technology 100 years from now, who may try to say that the time changes and that there's an actual war for 25 years from now. Then what? Whose future is whose? How do we know our future?
Good question.
When you were in the mentorship group sending treatments forward in time, you also sent treatments backwards in time. Like for the first part of the mentorship group was every Friday, send a treatment forward in time to yourself the next Friday and the next Friday. So you 3 or 4 Fridays out. And then after you've done that, send backwards in time, so that you had the past, present, and future as part of your simultaneous expression. What did you learn from that?
To be honest, a very out there concept, to start off. So you just got to start doing it. I think what the main thing that came through this is actually the realization that you can fortify your reality, and you can do this intention, you can do this through, having your boundaries and doing that type of work. And then it becomes slightly more tangible.
And it allows you to be on the timeline that's your natural co-creative evolution, that isn't manipulation. Meaning it's not the ones that are being given to you to choose from, because there's something beyond the choices that's given to you that is your natural line. Yeah.
And is that a conscious awareness? Not necessarily. That's just something,
It's a practiced awareness.
Yeah.
It becomes a practiced awareness, because if you don't practice at it, you don't have any awareness of it.
Yeah, exactly. That is possible, and then it becomes more of a concept rather than, and even an experience.
Exactly. So manipulation of time, whether you're doing it yourself, positive or negative, or it's being done to you in mass, this quantum computing technology has made its way into our vernacular, our colloquial now. And now people are trying to understand how it's going to affect what people talk about. is it now acceptable to talk about quantum computing technology and time travel at the Thanksgiving dinner if you're a conspiracy theorist?
I think it is. I think everyone should be talking about it.
Okay. Versus baby raping lizards and the Clintons. The audience doesn't want to hear you.
But it's part of our potentiality, you know, it's part of our skin suit technology. It's part of what we're here for. And it's going to come through the next couple of years. So why not talk about it?
Right. Why not talk about it? But Auntie Joe or any of the other, you know, people that don't want to hear a single thing about conspiracy world are just not ready for some of those things.
And of course, the first question always, the first thing always comes in, the extraterrestrials. So can you have a quantum discussion without bringing the extraterrestrials in?
No, because they're intrinsically a part of it in the future.
Exactly. This blows out a lot of those conversations as soon as you start talking about artificial intelligence, even, you know, because people aren't even ready.
Because there's one thing I'll say that blows out part of what Austinsteinberg is saying. He doesn't mention at all about off-worlders, and the only way they can make quantum computing technology to do what he's doing is if he was interacting with off-worlders.
He does say. He said. I wrote. He said extraterrestrial intelligence, space and time communication, 100 million light years away with that new technology. So he brings that in a little bit.
And what is 100 million light years? What does that mean?
Ask Austin.
Okay, that's a vague, direct answer. 100 million light years can be done in 45 seconds if you have quantum engines. Okay.
So what type of technology, what type of engine do we then need?
A psychic engine, one that allows you to create a section of space that is not torn or does not do damage to the fabric of reality, but allows you to naturally create some type of metaphorical wormhole from point A to point B that, again, doesn't do damage to the time-space reality.
Mm-hmm. And apparently that technology is available. So
100%. It's been available for 40 million years.
So what's it going to take for us to get a hold of that? What's it going to take?
We already have it.
Where is it?
In the deep underground military bases out in the solar system. We right now have well over 700 large capital vessels that can do that. We have a whole fleet of ships out there.
But that's a different technology to the yellow box, right?
Okay, that's an engine. A yellow box is a prediction process.
Right. Okay.
Okay, that is using DNA prediction, but engines take DNA far away. Okay? So the yellow box can see the totality of how far humanity's DNA has gone out into the universe.
So I do remember talking about, you know, the project Montauk, because there was also a vehicle that was given to Eisenhower at the time, right?
So Montauk has got dozens of programs.
A cube or something.
Yeah. And a chair that allowed them to time travel.
A chair, that's right. Yeah.
A chair from a spaceship.
That's right. But we don't need any of that. I mean, that was like, you know, 60.
Yeah, but we have all that was reverse engineered, has been integrated into our societies now at the higher military industrial complex level.
So why this is so not everybody knows about this. Why can we not? That's why I'm so glad this guy came out. Yeah, he's completely authentically talking about this. We need more people who talk about stuff like that. Right. I mean, he's been talking about it, but it needs to go out there.
I agree. That's why I said we're going to see a flurry of quantum time traveling people confirming their potential futures, coming back to change the present now. Okay. But you have an understanding, the ruling elite has had this technology for so long, they don't want us to wake up. They don't want us to have access to this technology. They don't want our future selves talking to us, which is why they're manipulating COVID the way they are right now.
But it's inevitable because our sentience is just opening up.
Let's break down the word inevitable.
Inevitable. How do you want to break it down?
It's meaning.
Oh, inevitable means it will happen. It has to happen for the greater evolution.
So if it takes 90 million years, is it still inevitable?
Not in my
Okay. Now, that's the thing quantum computing technology can do. It can add millions of years before that inevitability comes.
So we're always talking about individual journeys and, so what can we all do individually to get that inevitability in the next 33 years?
To reclaim your capacity to be linear and nonlinear time you as the sovereign independent being who's a standing DNA light body nation of one, and to understand that that's a coded set of words that you can break down to your individuality and your rights, duties, and responsibilities to your individuality, so that self-healing, self-nurturing, self-discovery, and self-exploration are actually done in your divine co-creative natural expression and not manipulated by quantum technology personas who are using prediction technology to do what to you?
Influence
you, right? Influence you into a set of choices that add to that inevitable timeline.
Yeah. Okay, so let's translate that. What does that actually mean? It's like we all have a future self. So we all can do what an Austin does,
Yep.
We all can start communicating with our future selves and bring those in. Do we need a specific, do we need to upgrade our computers? Not in the beginning, not to start off.
You are the computer. You are the DNA computer.
We are the computer, exactly.
Right. Your consciousness is the cipher and the computer's the code.
Exactly. So it's all about activating soul codes. It's all about getting our DNA encodements, disentangle from the hairball, getting out of linear time, if you wish, getting away from the social agreement, what time is, getting into galactic time, understanding what that means, and then start tapping into all of that ourselves.
Your own potentialities.
Yep.
Okay, you activate your own soul codes out of free will. When you are trying to actively create first contact to a future self, what can you do to create your own self-proof? One day from now, I'm going to actively contact myself at right after my breakfast, and I'm going to consciously put effort into it. The next day, is it your responsibility to be aware of yourself coming to talk to you? And then you change this practice after you get good at it, where you're going to tell a future self to come backwards in time and talk to you. Can you perceive how to do that out of nonlinear strategy?
In the beginning, it's probably an imaginary sort of practice.
Until it is an imaginary practice until it becomes well-practiced experience.
Exactly. And then there are, of course, you have it in dream time all the time.
People have premonitions and things all the time.
Yeah. You have future visualizations that you can do, and actually you can actually draw yourself. Somebody did a portrait of me, and every time I look at that portrait, I can see my future self. She must have painted something, because it's definitely that version of me that is slightly out.
So deja vu is something different. When we're creating these moments of past, present, and future nonlinear existence, we're tapping into our no-time self, who has the capacity to be in many frequencies of time simultaneously. and non-time at the same time. It's your birthright and legacy to your own future selves. So people are asking if I can teach. I can, but ultimately, what will it do for you individually? If you have not done the A+ effort work in self-healing, self-nurturing, self-discovery, it will only distort your presence. If you have not done the daily practice, future time travel work will only fuck you up. Period. So, do you give a gun to a 9-year-old with bullets? Would you, Martina?
No, and it's frustrating. I've done the mentorship with you, and that is frustrating to a certain extent. That's exactly what you did. Yeah, you have to have the experience by yourself. He's not going to give you the gun, and you want it so much. Give me the gun. Give me the gun. No, you have to learn the process by yourself, and then it becomes an experience at some stage. It's almost like you can't teach it.
No, it's teachable, but it's still experiential based. And once you get the experience, the teaching unfolds into a greater meaning, and a greater meaning, and a greater meaning of responsibility. That's why we don't have access to so many of our super psychic skills, because we don't have the responsibility to own them and the damage it might do to hundreds of others out of our own ignorance.
Yeah, and I think that's a great way of actually saying, look, the time is on our side. Yeah. You know, when you get ready, it's like you can't plan the future, but you can prepare for it. So get yourself prepared with all the tools. We're talking about it in every show. And then when the time is right, you will just all of a sudden experience it.
And then you can plan your future.
Then you can start planning it, you know.
Right.
But it's the preparedness.
Right. It's the preparedness. Getting back to that responsibility factor.
Exactly.
So I will teach in a metaphor here for a moment.
Okay.
As I said earlier, anyone can time travel in your own mind. It's a matter of personal belief. Am I making it up, or is this a real experience for me? And what does it take for an individual to generate a real experience to them and themselves alone? If I tell you to visualize an apple in your mind and you do it, is it real as a visualization, or are you making it up?
Well, you make everything you make up, because who is making it up? You're making it up.
So at what point does making it up become a real experience of a psychic manifestation?
I would say once you start having all your senses part of it, you start feeling it, you start hearing it, you know, and all that, whatever that is, you can just feeling is probably the best way of saying it, isn't it?
As well as getting over expectation.
Oh yeah, you can't have an expectation. No. This is playtime. Yeah. Right. This is quantum in the quantum play box. This is
You're right on the edge of unknowingness.
Absolutely.
Where your expectation has no functions anymore.
No. And there is not even an explanation necessarily for it, because it's such an individual journey and authentic, individual, unique experience. And you kill it by giving you too much what is it supposed to look like, feel like. No, you just have to experience it.
Okay. So I will continue to teach in a metaphor. So this is what anyone can do that wants to begin to practice this. Go and look at your picture album from the last many years, and go to an age where you're like 8, 9, 10, where memories can be a little bit difficult, and pick any picture in which you know you have the fake smile, or you have an authentic smile. When you're looking at a picture with a fake smile, you are at a future person who going, I know that kid. That is me. That's the fake smile, or that's the real smile. So if you're going to use the fake smile, hello, past self that is young. I am your future self. As you're staring and visualizing at that picture, there's going to come a tipping point in where your energy of transference to that picture, who is still you in another frequency of time, will become a belief. And you will be able to intuit and empath that younger version of you who's inside you. I call this turning the radar dishes internal. So many empaths are always external. Turn them internal. If you're one of those empaths that can hear the mouse fart next door, you can internalize it and begin to feel your internalized selves who are still there. and tell that child, I love you. What more proof of love do you need? I shine my light backwards in time to myself so this young being in this slice of time picture can feel me. You will intuit yourself feeling yourself. Will you allow that experience to bloom? That is time, the essence of mental, spiritual, and consciousness time travel. And you can do amazing healings on yourself by reconnecting the child to the adult and then evolving to the point where past self, what proof do you need that I am your future? I know what's coming for you. I know. And then after you give this proof to the younger self, it transfers all the way forward in time into a knowingness in you, which completes the circle of time travel awareness. The circuit is complete. Now, when we work on our past selves and we get good at it, and then we want to work on a future, it's the same process, the same method, except the circuit's working in reverse, where you will get your confirmation. If you choose to be aware at that future moment, you're going to connect to yourself because the responsibility is on you who's projecting into the future. So you don't have a future picture of yourself, but you have the picture of now. Click. Okay, now self. I'm connecting to myself 1 week from today. And do the same process you did on the past. 1 week from today, are you responsible in your awareness enough to say, I'm open to my past self who's receiving me so I may complete the circuit and send that energy back to myself so I now have the experience of future self-talk. And then willing to talk backwards in time to your own self, which you've just practiced on the pictures of the past.
And
solidifying and grounding your aspects within yourself.
And it's that simple.
It is that simple.
And yet
it has all the responsibility on you for the experience.
Yeah. What I like to look at when I do the future thing, I look at the ocean of awareness. I look at the ocean of space-time aliveness, the life force that is out there. And it's pregnant with spirit. It's like full of possibilities. And as you tap in with your DNA technology, you can draw on those possibilities. You can draw on that life force rather, and then bring those infinite possibilities into this reality. And it's the action of doing that visualization, that process, that practice that makes the experience real.
Once again, choice, 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 responsibility to the choice.
And practice.
Okay, but practice is still a choice.
Yes.
So we're going to give a little bit of a next expression. So November 3rd is going to be the American election, which all these people are looking forward as a stopping in time. All this is going to happen or not happen. So I want everyone to just visualize 10 p.m. at night, November 3rd in the future. Some people call this remote viewing. This is not remote viewing. This is remote intuition. Because most people's intuition levels about the future are based off the trust in themselves. Okay? And remote viewing doesn't allow trust. What do you intuit from your own environment, not television, not media, not social media, from yourself, November 3rd, 2.5 months from now? Intuit does not create dark feelings, sadnesses, and emotions. So, Dawn, you are already creating expectation. That's empathy skill. Intuition is not empathy. Empathy is the lowest of all psychic skills. Okay, Zeph, it feels like riding a bike. Now you're intuiting yourself in motion of space-time.
I mean, when we do exercises like that, I just allow myself to the words to come out without trying to, whatever that is, not trying to make sense of it as such, and actually trust whatever comes out, if it's true or not, if it will be like that or not.
Exactly, because until November 3rd comes, you won't have any validation of that.
Exactly.
That's the responsibility when you're dealing with a future time that's much farther away than your responsibility. Once we go out of the realm of awareness and responsibility and we start working beyond what we can capacitate and do and feel and experience, we are in the realm where quantum computing technology can be used against people negatively.
Yeah. And also, I want to say the re-election of Trump being back at least for a certain period of time. Now, what if I'm just getting this in this moment in time, and if we're doing the same exercise next week, the potentialities have already changed.
Exactly.
You see,
that is how mutable the future is.
Exactly. So this is already now, because that's what I'm saying now. And whoever sees the show, oh, she didn't get it, she was wrong. Well, as I'm saying, allow yourself to know what you're getting right now, because it can change.
Right. Also, your perception and perspective of your intuition will change.
Yeah.
Will change.
I do remember.
Whenever you get a solidified idea, it will unsolidify itself and become another solidified idea as we refine our intuition journey.
Yes, as we refine our intuition journey, and also as we collect more information along the lines, right? Which does impact on the way we intuit to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
Really, can you really take those two things apart? Information?
If you are truly the unentangled observer, absolutely you can. Pick it apart to its smallest piece of data and source.
Right.
That's the hardest part about future projection. How do you know where your sacred neutral ends as you're projecting into the future?
Yeah.
Now, I read the Akashic Records and the many, many timelines out there. Right now, as of today, Trump won't win. But an hour from now, something may change the potential that Trump will win. There is no solidified single timeline that's saying one or the other is or isn't going to happen. And I believe all the way up until the last 12 hours before election, it will be the same thing. Because so many beings from the future using quantum computing technology are coming to the past to alter people's fundamental individual beliefs about what is going to happen with or without this election.
So, how can we, I want to say protect, but how can we be aware of those influences?
Contract revocations.
Yeah.
That talk about manipulative time travel machines and apparatuses.
Do you actually have one of those?
Yes, it's interwoven in the government, banking, and media, all about time travel.
It's all involved in that one, yeah. Yeah.
So I'm going to step back here for a second and talk about how we are responsible for our own future. So in your daily life choices, Martina, what do you choose out of responsibility to make your future tomorrow happen?
Well, it's a spiritual cleanliness. It's taking a certain time away from my day that I dedicate to my self-mastery, to emotional clearance, to deprogramming of my sympathetic, parasympathetic. And then more now I'm going into the question. I use question a lot. What are the possibilities? How can I tap into the next potentiality? What is that going to look like? So really having a communication with the universe, if you wish, with myself, with my body, and mainly staying out of projection and expectations.
So when you go to sleep, how do you know you're going to wake up in the same timeline you left?
I have no idea.
Yes, you do. You just said it, through your daily practice.
Oh, through the daily practice. Yeah.
That daily practice is what makes you responsible for your future.
Yeah.
Now, everybody's daily practice is going to be different. But when our daily practice reflects about responsibly being on the right timeline, what are we telling the universe? We're ready for the greater experience.
Yeah.
Which is what? A potentiality that we all haven't seen before.
Yes. And going to the edge of unknowingness. I mean, that's one of the things. And actually, thinking like a philosopher, I'm so glad I met the Arcturians, because it's like really finding new truths, finding more truths that work for me, looking for the unknown, basically.
Mm-hmm. And then allowing you to not fall victim to fear, envy, resentment, or jealousy. There's so many people that are jealous of a potential future that doesn't include them, which is a great limiting factor to the future.
Yeah, but that would fall under expectation and projections, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think I said to you the other day, it's like clarity. I've had this new clarity about clarity, because when I look at the energy of clarity now, there used to be, I have clarity about what I want to create. Now clarity there's no clarity about anything that I want to create, but it's just clear. It's literally just clear.
It's unencumbered.
Yes. And there's no projection, there's no expectation, it is what it is, and you work in the present moment.
And ultimately, when we work in the present moment, we have the unlimited point of view available to us out of choice.
That's where choice is something that creates. Yeah, choice creates.
Okay. Choice creates what? What you don't project on it.
Exactly. And then you gotta look at what does it create, and does it work for me, what it created or not? And then you choose something else. And you use as a human being, you use your sensory system. Does this feel heavy? Does this feel light? And you work with that, and you follow the lightness of the energy.
Mm-hmm.
Without expectation and projection.
So let's focus on expectation for a minute.
Mm.
Is expectation a form of self-manipulative forward time traveling?
Yes.
Absolutely it is. Once again, giving people more proof, you can manipulate your own future through your own self.
Yeah. And it's a distortion as well, because you're basing the expectation mostly on the experience of others.
Okay. So I've had the saying for the longest time, expectation creates limitation and limitation creates expectation, because they're one and the same. So how do we get out of expectation?
How do we get out of, it's a choice. It's a daily choice. So every time you go into expectations, you got to say, okay, just destroy and uncreate them. Know when you're in it, acknowledge it, say, okay, cool, done it again. No worries at all. Let's get out of it. Back into the present moment. Now, when you're in an expectation, you're basically in the future. And that's when the anxiety kicks in, the worry, the fear, all that crap. So you know when you're in expectation. So what you do, you go back into present moment. You go back, you use your breath, you use your body, you use all that to get back into the present moment.
And once we neuter our beliefs out of charge and polarity, and I use the word neuter, we can then enter the neutral state where charge and polarity does not create a potential expectation. Ultimately, it's stored charge and polarity about a subject matter or fear that creates the future projection.
Yeah, well, that's the what I always say. It's the difference between judgment, because all of that expectation is judgment. Really, it takes you out of allowance. And
Right.
what's the difference between allowance and judgment? It's usually the charge and polarity that comes with the judgment that takes you out of the present moment,
which puts you into that vicious cycle of repeating a future that isn't yours.
Yeah.
If you're stuck in expectation.
Yeah, and also, the expectation comes from your belief system. And with all the deprogramming that we do, we are deprogramming our beliefs. And I'm at the level now where I look at beliefs actually as limitation. It's almost like every belief is now a limitation, because it's just putting the old concepts into a framework. Now, as you're interested in the new, in the unknowingness, on the edge of the unknowingness, there is no belief out there yet. So you got to call it a certain truth, maybe.
Exactly. Now, how can we turn expectation into something positive that isn't a limitation? In the unlimited point of view, there absolutely is a way to make expectation a positive thing.
Okay.
We know at fundamentals, expectation puts you in a forward projection of time to a part of you that's storing charge and polarity that will accept that expectation to create a limitation. How do we flip the frequency on that?
Well, the way it's flexibility, I can actually have an expectation, and if it doesn't happen that way, I'm super flexible. Okay, what else is possible?
Suppleness.
Subtleness, okay.
Mm-hmm. Like supple leather that's very pliable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're not rigid in the acceptance of the charge and polarity.
Yes. Okay. Subtleness. Yeah. Okay. So it's that I call it spontaneity. It's like, okay, I might have predicted that if you wish, and okay, it's not working. Okay, cool. So what else? What else is possible here? Again, there's the question. What else can I do with this?
Okay. So what I was telling you guys before about connecting yourself to the pictures of the past, and then you have no picture from the future, but you have a picture of your present self. Is your present self going to be that future being? Via the law of expectation, yes.
Yeah.
Is it a limiting belief to say that I'm going to be that future person?
Yes.
And within that limiting belief, can you still achieve the unlimited point of view?
Yes.
Therefore, that is how we turn expectation to a positivity within us. So it's experiential based.
Yes.
So I want to give people a little bit of homework. Homework. Yeah. Oh, people are like, no more homework. Wah. You got some homework. So I'm going to ask people to go and gather a picture from themselves in the past, age 5 to 12. And I want you to find a picture that you have some memories about. And like I described before, you're going to be the future self, completing the circuit to connect to your past self through the journey of expressing of love. I am your future self. What proof do you need? And connect to that picture until you've got this process of completing the circuit. And then choose another picture and another picture and another until you've got 4 pictures. Numbers of years apart, so it gets closer and closer to the age you are today. What this will do, each individual picture will represent an era of your history that will connect to your next era of history, that will connect to your next era of history, connect to your next era of history, and then your present era of history will have a linear expression of acceptance of all of your past selves who have now been incorporated into you via the experience of quantum DNA time travel. The hard part about the homework is, can you start connecting yourself to the next? So our next show is going to be next Tuesday. So you can easily do 10 minutes, 15 minutes at a time, spend an hour on the past. Can you spend an hour connecting to you who's going to be on the next show? And then you, when that next show comes, are going to be aware enough to receive your projections to yourself before the next show is on, because I'll be talking about the homework with Martina, who connected to their past, who was here present, and allowing their present self to come in. The homework is, will at 12:50 next Tuesday, you have the responsibility to your awareness to let your future projections to yourself in as an experience you can share in the chat room, completing the quantum interaction technology, just like Austinsteinberg talked about. Proving, without even quantum computers, we can do it.
No expectations, no projections.
Exactly. No expectations, no projections.
Using your own technology.
All the responsibility lies on you. So, Martina, we want to take some phone calls.
Yep, let's take a few.
So we're going to ask people to go ahead and raise their hand. We are once again to ask you, if your hand is already raised and you are not by your device, we will skip over you very fast. You only get 2 chances when we say answer your phone. Because there are a lot of people that have raised their hand and they don't listen to the show. They walk off and are blah, 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 blah. So if you're listening right now and you're not going to be by your device, lower your hand. If you are here by your device and want to have a conversation about today's topics, it is not about personal readings and not about your fucking purpose. It's about quantum computer technologies and time travel. Please respect that. Wait for the Thursday shows for call-in stuff. Robert, are you there? Robert?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Let's spin up the wheel of callers and see who is our first converser.
Okay. Dayami, you are getting an unmute signal.
Dayami, are you there? Going once. Dayami, are you there?
Whoops, nope. I accidentally, I did Sherry. Sherry, you're up.
Sherry, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
How are you doing today? Where are you calling from today?
I'm well from California.
Welcome to the show. What did you think about what we're talking today?
Absolutely mind-blowing. It was so hard to stay present because there was so much happening in my mind.
Like what was happening?
The ability to change time, future, and back, and the effect that has on our larger being. And I was wondering, when you were speaking about completing the circuit, how does that affect us in a larger sense?
Profoundly. It alters the fundamental perspective of you, who can do what out of responsibility and choice, make profound changes to your past, present, and future self, which will increase your level of enlightenment, bring newer forms of clarity, and allow you to ask questions from a different perception and perspective, knowing full well you can implement this as a strategy over a long period of your life.
Amazing. It feels like it also draws like parts of ourselves back to us. Is that correct?
Absolutely. A lot of parts of ourselves that have wandered away. There are many young versions of ourselves who are stuck in a dream world. And as we use those pictures as a reference, we reach out to the many tentacles of the dream world where that kid was dreaming, and we draw them back into that pictured body. And then we bring them back into ourselves. It's a form of self-psychic surgery and soul shard recovery too, yes.
Wow. Does the Merkaba have anything to do with this topic?
Well, first thing first, the modern Lightworker Teacher Society has blown the Merkaba into the point where it's a bunch of word salad shit. So most people have a real understanding of the Merkaba is, and there's a lot of Lightworker warrior people out there who use it as a spaceship, which was never meant to be. It's a clarity process. When one spins the Merkaba, they're able to let go of charge and polarity and enter the body in a deeper state and not travel on transverse concepts. So when we take the common light worker bullshit about what the Merkaba is and the mist has created about it, we can use the Merkaba to create intense forms of clarity in the moment so we can alter and change our perceptions and perspectives about observable time.
Whoa, that's so cool. And if we do that, and that was my next question, how do we get to the sacred neutral? So that's one tool. Does that protect us from being subject to
The Merkaba?
time?
The Merkaba?
Actually,
the Merkaba is not a protection symbol. That's garbage.
no, I mean, when we're staying in the sacred neutral,
Okay.
does that protect us from timeline manipulation? In a sense.
The answer is yes and no. There are certain timeline manipulations that are on such a grand scale, there's very little you can do to stop it. It's after it's done, you can begin to reverse it. But once we're in the sacred neutral state, it's a choice to remain in it so that charge and polarity doesn't stick to you. And it's an experiential state where we learn to have long-term endurance, like on a 20K, 30K, or 40K race. Like when I'm doing these shows, I understand it's a long-term investment into being in the sacred neutral state so that my expression, past, present, and future, because there will be people a month from now who are listening to the show for the first time. And that is my endurance factor of choosing to maintain it through my entire expression of past, present, and future. So I've chosen to make that expression much bigger. And as you get more familiar with the sacred neutral expression, you can extend it beyond your current presence of experience. Its nature is that way.
Last question. How do you get to that state and maintain that state?
Well, I want to bring Martina in to answer that question. How do you get into the sacred neutral state and maintain it?
Well, it's the self-mastery and and letting go of all your programming, clearing out your parasympathetic and staying in continuous choice. And all the good work that we are usually talking about. And really continuously, as you're speaking, acknowledging to yourself through just listening to your own words, what is a conclusion, what is a point of view, and what is just pure flow. Because the sacred neutral actually is the tool. It allows you to tap into all of that. Otherwise, you're limiting yourself.
Yes. Would you say that you use either a state of gratitude or love to access that?
Personally, I don't do that necessarily anymore, that I have to go unless, because I have really developed a certain level of self-mastery, and I have also developed a certain level of trust with my body. It's almost like the sacred neutral is for me now, the words just flow. So but gratitude helps definitely when you catch yourself and you see you're going too much into conclude, go back into gratitude, go back into love, what that means to you, all of that. But to be honest, love itself is such a convoluted emotion that throws you out of the sacred neutral, because it is so misidentified and misapplied.
Wow. Probably a whole show.
It's almost like getting out of every definition that you can think of. You're going into no structure, no control, no definition, and just allow the truth to come out, whatever that truth is for you in that moment.
Okay, but then when we're so open, I get that, but then I also see that there is a room for manipulation.
That openness for me personally is pure potency. It's the opposite for me. That's when you step into your potency.
It is not manipulable.
I see. So you're right in the center of your soul.
It becomes an energy.
Got it.
It's no longer the words, that it's like you become that energy of sacred neutral.
Okay. Thank you so much, both of you. Amazing topic. Amazing
You're
show.
welcome. Thank you so much for calling in, Sherry. Wonderful caller.
Thank you.
All right, Robert, let's spin up the wheel of callers and see who we got next.
Okay, Julie West. You're gonna
Julie
get an
West.
signal.
Julie West, are you by your device? Going once. Going twice.
I'm right here.
She made it last second.
My goodness, I was really surprised. I didn't know what was going on. I'm writing away while I'm listening, and I was like, oh, how are you doing?
Wonderful. Where are you calling from today?
I'm calling from Mexico, Baja.
Baja, Mexico. Welcome to the show. What did you think of today's conversation?
Well, I didn't catch the whole thing, but I've been definitely working on those pictures, which is really interesting because I just kind of had this awful picture of when I was about, I guess, 8 years old. I was skinny as a rail, and I was actually looking very miserable. And I started to think that maybe that was my walk-in time, which really shook me up a lot because I was so different before that age. And then I changed dramatically. So I've been working on those photographs that you're talking about, and I have 5 or 6 of them.
Wonderful.
So,
what kind of experience have you had with the pictures?
well, because I have moved all over the world, I've been wandering around trying to find myself. It's the pictures, I've changed so much in those pictures. It's almost like I've had so many upgrades now. I'm this. So I don't know.
Let me bring Martina in a second, because Martina also had a walk-in experience, and we haven't really talked about much on a show except for, I think, one of our mentorship calls we publicized before. Martina, anything you want to add? You add to Julie?
There's so many different types of walk-in experiences. As I hear you saying that you have changed so much after your walk-in experience, I can't really pinpoint the exact date when it actually happened and how I've changed. It was much because also I had a walk-in and not a walk-out at the same time. I didn't have an exchange, so I had 2 souls for a little bit. And I can't really share that experience with you, that I've changed so tremendously after the walk-in. And, of course we changed from the age of 7. So I'm not entirely sure what the question was in this particular case. What is your question in terms of change?
My question is, I guess, accepting that any of this could, I've been writing about it my whole life and drawing pictures my whole life, trying to come to terms with it, because it's quite with the fact that I changed so dramatically over the years, right, from being this happy singing, dancing child to a child that wants to bite another child, to being another happy traveling person. And every different country I go to, I've had some serious attacks. I was in Australia for 4 years. And as soon as I left the Caribbean and went to Australia, I was really attacked. So the attacks have stopped. And I am now here in Mexico and embracing this. And I really feel kind of like overwhelmed with, I have to accept that this is real. Even though it just feels like a story.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's so many stories out there, walking or not. The thing is, what I would suggest at this particular time is to actually leave the walk-in story to the side for a moment, okay? It's there, park it off for a moment. Don't identify yourself with it. and just look at your life from a perspective of, so what can I actually be and do now to stop any attacks, to start feeling happy within myself, and make the walk insignificant. Okay?
Yep, I feel like I need to do something to contribute. And the only thing I can seem to do is write and draw. I every time I come in contact with trying to give my energy or something, it's almost like I knock people over.
All right, Julie, thanks a lot for calling in. We've got to move on to our next caller. Why don't you call into the Thursday show? We can give you more information there.
Oh,
All right,
maybe Akashic reading on Thursday, you mean?
Yeah, just the Thursday show. This show is just about our topic today. We don't want to change what we're talking about.
Sorry. Well, the pictures have helped an awful lot. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And
right,
your
Robert,
shows are amazing.
Thank you so much.
I'm sorry I veered off.
Okay.
I didn't mean to. Bye.
Yep. Spin up the wheel of callers and see who's next.
Okay, I'm going to bring Sean Bibby on. Sean, you're on.
Sean Bibby, been a long time since we've talked to you. How you doing, brother?
Yeah, doing real fine. Hanging out here in Toronto City and feeling good.
So what did you think about today's show?
Wow. Today's show was very fun, very informative, and transformative. It's a great conversation.
So how was it transformative for you?
Well, just like I kind of want to summarize predictive modeling a little bit and my perceptions on it.
Okay.
So it kind of feels like there's the predictive modeling, and if we can take connections through our pictures and make the circuit, it just takes us out of like a 0 and 1 binary system to a quantum, basically being our own quantum computer, and like exponentially multiplies our choice points, or just multiplies how many predictions that they have to make. So we just have so many more options available if we can connect those circuits that are in the homework.
Right. That's why out creating anything that's projecting at you is so easy.
Yeah,
no matter how under attack you are, you can out create it in a blink with so much potent force that it will shrink back to irrelevancy.
Absolutely. It's so exciting just to see the exponential force of what adding time travel to your own practice does to your own essence.
Right. Experiential based time travel that are long-term memories of how you are changing your past, your present, and your future by adding to the total potentiality of what you can do in a moment.
Well, this is fun. I'm kind of getting goosebumps at the moment right now, because throughout this very show, I was just having subtle realizations of memories and thoughts and times throughout my own growth, like being a little tot and just having thoughts that just didn't fit in. Like, it's like, where did this thought even come from? Why am I thinking about, I need to bring these people together, or I need to, simpleness is the most, like I'm playing with Lego and I'm 6 and I'm like, if I make a simple design, it'll be super complex. But it's like that thought's from the future in the past.
Or it was a creative child tapping into the total potential of what they're doing, and an ancient future self go, wow, that was me at 4 playing Legos. Let me go back and just have a little play with the kid so I can connect to myself. And then they give you the gift of the super Lego model that comes out an hour later. And mom goes, how the hell did you do that? I'm a kid.
I'm just a kid, yeah. Yeah, that's great. Absolutely great. There's one more bit that I wanted to touch on as well.
Okay.
Just to see if I got this right. So basically, there's future events by perhaps greater beings that as soon as they create it, it's solidified and created, and you can't change it, or you can't. It can be uncreated, but it's going to happen.
But we still have to populate their creation.
Right.
And if we don't choose to populate their creation, they get butthurt.
Right, because that's essentially uncreating it and giving them butthurt.
No, it's still there.
Okay.
It's like a theme park nobody goes to.
Oh yeah.
It's like
How
the theme
lame.
park. It's like Disney in France. No one gives a shit about it.
What? No one wants to come on my theme park? I worked so hard on it, but I guess it's not that fun.
Right, because it's still diet domination and control. It's still not giving us what we want, our natural co-creative evolution to be our responsible infinite beings God source.
Right. Which is such a
Do you
fun
want to go to
perspective.
do you want to go to Disneyland that only allows you to be half God source? No.
Well, maybe once.
Maybe. Why? We're already in God source world, even in this domination and control place.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So those bigger beings that are creating for us, there's many more, but one of the things I'm going to say, the elite class, subsurface elite class, defining us as a DNA farm, they are imprinting on us a structure in which we're incarnating and reincarnating in. And we're getting to the point where we don't want to incarnate into your structure anymore. Change the structure or we will from inside.
Yeah, absolutely. Just taking control, taking the reins, and being the creator.
And then as an out creator, there's a creator is one thing, an out creator is a whole different level of process.
Like, because, I was trying to facilitate my words a little bit earlier. Just if we can create out in front of the creators, that's essentially out creating them. And then
or create an alternate option.
Yeah, they'll have to not come to our theme park.
Well, no, we wouldn't let them into our theme park.
Okay, right. They're not.
We refuse.
They can't get into
We retain the right to refuse service.
Right.
You gotta wear a mask. You gotta wear a mask.
Yeah.
Yes.
No. The mask is the domination and control frequency.
That's right.
Not allowed.
Exactly. So you're pretty spot on in some of your things. Martina, do you want to add anything that he talked about?
Yeah, I just want to bring in, this is the old story of creating the different bubbles of realities, right? With our signature frequency matches. And one of the big teachings comes in which is the tacit consent, which bites you in the ass if you don't know what you're buying yourself into, what you're actually tacitly consenting to. And that's one of the really important things. And the other thing is saying nothing ever goes away. Everything is still available in the quantum field. So let's say, for instance, you're getting rid of your anger issues. They're still parked off somewhere, so you can at some stage tap into it right again. So it is really choice at the end of the day. Nothing ever disappears.
Right, and tap in and even take advantage of it if it was necessary when you could use rage. Not to get rid of it, not throw it out. It still could be it's part of the experience and why we learned it.
So Sean, what I'm saying is it's like that's why focus and choice becomes so much more relevant in this day and age now, where you have an understanding that everything is available.
Yeah, it's empowering.
Choice really does create choice, focus, sacred neutral.
Yes, absolutely.
So I want to pose a question to you, Sean.
Okay.
In the years that you've been practicing now, what has been the biggest teaching for you, or the top 3 teachings for you?
Ooh. Well, number 1, and this one's been coming in probably the most recent, is just be gentle. Be very gentle in allowing, not forcing. And you just really because then you can just become a gentle teacher. And a gentle teacher is a pretty damn smart teacher. Other things that have been coming, just it's really nice too, after a little while, you can start to take stock and really start to see how much your work has paid off. Because I'm really starting to see all the practices starting to pay off, especially in the last little bit. Just really starting to see things manifest pretty fast. Mm-hmm. And with that, it's very fascinating. But seeing it pay off. And what was the question again?
What are the top 3 things you've learned from practice, the teachings that you've learned?
Oh, yeah. Hard work definitely pays off. and it starts paying off in dividends and what you can create. And it pays off. Third lesson in my practices that have been coming to now is that this is a cop-out because I can't think of a third, but there's always time to keep creating and just jump right in there at any time.
That's not a cop-out. That's an actual answer.
Okay, well,
Okay.
it's just
So now I'm going to ask you a hard question.
Okay.
What are you responsible for in the future?
What am I responsible for in the future? Well, governing myself, communicating with my past self, being, oh, what's the word? What's the word for on time? Being punctual with myself, perhaps.
Okay. Okay. Respecting when your past you is knocking on a future door and not ghosting them at the door. Yeah, you're responsible for that. If you want to own time travel, you can't ghost yourself. I don't want to answer the phone now. You can't do that.
Ghosting yourself is essentially just a waste of energy between two versions of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
One person shows up to the door and the other person not there.
Doesn't answer the door.
So therefore not getting the most energy efficient use of your own self.
Wonderfully put. Well, I'm going to pose the same question to Martina.
What are you mad?
Yeah, what are you, Mr. Martina? What are you responsible for the future?
Commitment to myself, to be the best possible version of myself, to tap into my potential potency and to be the contribution that I truly can be for this awakening process, peacekeeper, peacemaker. Trust is the second one. Trusting in myself, staying true to me, all back doors closed. And the third one would be choosing, keep choosing.
All wonderful things for you guys to take into effect that are out there listening right now and are at that C+ effort and go, oh, what do I need to do to get to B-? What can I do to get to B+?
I had my number 4 come in, which was actually my number 3 that I forgot.
Okay, go ahead.
Which is simply, you really, really have to believe in yourself. Your reality, you have to believe it for it to become reality, but not delude yourself to just being crazy. Just believe in yourself, but don't delude yourself completely.
What did it take?
Everyone has the ability to do.
What did it take for you to believe into yourself and see you deluding yourself?
What did it take? Well, constantly keep trying and seeing what works and seeing what doesn't work. Because when you keep trying and you're on the edge of unconsciousness, you're bound to hit a wall and perhaps do things the hard way. And you'll know when things aren't resonating anymore, and that's when you can apply a correction.
And then deluding yourself?
And then deluding yourself, that's a slightly more tricky one because you're your own deluder. There's no one else influencing you, so you have the most tricky clone-like signature frequency that you have to match against. But how do you know if you're deluding yourself? You just do, but you ignore it. Yeah, that's what you're doing. But how to know that you're doing it is a whole nother thing together.
You know yourself, you know your own lies.
Yeah, you truly do. And it's a feeling as well, which comes in to catch your own delusion. You really have to trust your own intuition and feelings. Mm-hmm. And when it comes with catching your delusion, you have to follow those intuitive feelings and emotions.
How much of the journey was to stop blaming the external sources and accepting your own responsibility to it?
It's been an ongoing journey. And did you say how hard or not how hard?
Yeah. How hard, yeah.
Okay, how hard? Frankly, maybe, oh my God, this could be a self-defeating pattern that I like from a lineage. But I was going to say it wasn't that hard, but it was very complicated. And like sometimes I delude myself when I think that I've had a very, very easy life.
Mhm.
So it has been complicated in its own sense.
Mhm.
And not to get too far off on that, but sure, it was hard. It had its trying moments, very trying moments, but make or break moments.
And perseverance got you through it.
Yeah, just getting back to where I was more on track and syncing up with that, but with all the new experiences that have came in as well.
Which is where you saw your hard work pay off.
Fuck yeah.
Okay? You saw your hard work pay off in those deep moments of self-delusion and blaming the external, and then the hard work said, stop blaming the external and stop deluding yourself and watch the self-practice work.
Shit can get so goofy when you delude yourself. It's quite the ride.
Yes.
That's where things get really
Go ahead.
funky.
Yeah. So, Martina, is there anything you want to add there?
No, self-judgment maybe. You know, lots of, that was one of my things where I deluded myself a lot by self-judgment, using self-judgment rather than judging others, or obviously internalizing other people's judgments and making them my own.
Yeah.
And not really allowing myself to step into you know, the potency that I truly am, that type of stuff through that. Yeah. And then buying into the misplaced spiritual deviation. Oh, it's not meant to be. It's not meant to be. This is a lie. It is meant to be, but you have to commit. You have to actually act it. Action makes it real.
Action turns knowledge into wisdom. Pow. All right, Sean, thanks a lot for calling in.
Yeah, thanks. That was fun.
We're going to call it an end of the show right now. Martina, you want to give away people to get a hold of you?
Yes, synchholistic.co.uk. That's my personal website for any sessions. And then, thank you, Rob. And then we have our earthniveau.com, which is a Wednesday, 5 o'clock GMT +1 free Zoom session, which we do together as a group, the mentorship group. Not now, hold on. The mentorship group we had with Andrew. And tomorrow we have our celestial medium, Laura, take us through some very specific, nice exercises.
All right, everybody, we will be back this coming Thursday for a call-in show. And this Friday, I will be having a comedy show once again with Monty Dean. All right, Robert, take us away.
Thank you. Bye.
Each different bubble of reality is true. A galactic historian is a person that looks at all the lines of dramatic karma. Nudge, nudge, it's the Holy Grail. Improvise. Mysterious. It's counter psychic intelligence.
Why is DNA farming of this star cluster so important?
Because we do manifest our reality. We do create our reality.